Coming in late, but still wanted to get this out. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Saturday, February 17th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. First thing I want to talk about was Princess Peach Showcase, or Showtime. Showtime is the name of the game. Princess Peach Showtime. We got to see a little bit of gameplay. I think they're doing small character vignettes, like showing off different ways you're gonna be able to play. For the most part, it looks like a 2D platformer. But there's going to be some 3D levels, and you get to play as a ninja and a dancer and a mermaid, and so there's going to be a lot of different things that you're going to be working your way through. So I think they've taken a lot of the Mario formula and they've applied it to Peach, but Peach is going to be changing her costume a lot, and so I think that's going to be the way that they kind of switch it up. So apparently this was the second of these small character vignettes. She also gets to be a bike rider, and then she has a suit, very Samus-like suit. So they're doing a lot of stuff that looks pretty fun in the Princess Peach game. So Princess Peach Showtime launches next month, and yeah, I'm excited to see more gameplay. Something a little bit more extended. This was only a 1-minute trailer, so I'll have a link down below in the description if you wanted to check that out. But speaking of games that are launching now, a game that I think I've been talking about for the last couple weeks and I've been very excited for a long time. Banishers Ghost of New Eden launched this week. That's the next game from Don't Nod, the company that makes Life is Strange, but also made Vampire and Tell Me Why, and very good, very known for their strong narratives, which is why it's getting the score that it is. It's got a 78 Metacritic. From what I read of reviews, it's got a very good narrative. It's impactful. A lot of really character-driven choices, and the action adventure gameplay, or the action RPG gameplay is there, which I would expect. In that, I had to remember that they made Vampire, and I really liked both the narrative as well as the gameplay in Vampire. The few criticisms I've seen were it's a little slow. There's some pacing issues. I don't know what the time to beat is yet. I haven't checked that out yet, but yeah, if you're just looking for a slow, methodical story that kind of builds up, and you have to make impactful choices along the way, I think this could be the game for you, and I'm excited for it as someone who really likes Don't Nod games. So yeah, looking forward to checking that out sometime soon. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Skull and Bones launched this week, and it is not being reviewed well. It's currently at a 55 Metacritic, and there's just not a lot to love there. I think people looking for a pirate open world pirate game. They could have played that with Assassin's Creed 4. It seems like the ships are very customizable, and there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of go explore and play. But otherwise, the game it sounds like it's very shallow, pun intended. There's not a lot of variety in there. It's just ship on ship combat, and maybe the PvP can build some variety as you're playing against human opponents, but for the most part, it does not seem to be reviewing well. So let me know if you pick up Skull and Bones down below and what you think of it. The GLAAD report is out. That's the advocacy group for LGBTQ plus people. And yeah, they put out a report every year. They've been doing it for a couple years now. And there's just some really cool stats that came out with it. So they worked with Nielsen to put out a survey, and yeah, they questioned people on how likely are they to buy a game if it has representative characters in it. What part of the community is, or what part of the gaming community is LGBTQ plus, which is one of the stats I wanted to call out. Over the past 4 years, in 2010, it was only about 10% of the community, but now it's up to 17, which is really nice to see. I know that I read a lot of stats about people, LGBTQ people don't choose not to get play online because they don't want to be harassed for being the way they are, which is terrible. And so that's one of the problems with online gameplay. But on the other end, there was some pretty cool stats 60% of non-LGBTQ gamers say that they, having LGBTQ people represented in their games would not affect their decision to buy or play a game. So, yeah, it's good to see that like that's growing and that such a large part of the community don't really care about who the main character are or if there's NPCs that are one way or the other. So, yeah, hope that number gets bigger and excited to see. So, a lot of really cool numbers to dig into. So I'll have a link to the full report down below. The much awaited Phil Spencer interview talking about Xbox exclusivity and what the future of Xbox looks like finally came this week. It was only like 10 minutes, or at least the video I watched was only like a 10-minute breakdown of it. And yeah, so there are Xbox exclusives that will come to the PlayStation and to the Nintendo Switch in the future. So I think a lot of people were speculating on like, oh, is Xbox getting out of the hardware game? And it's like, no, there will still be more Xbox hardware, but they're just gonna put their games on different platforms. We've seen recent launches like Helldivers 2 doing well when Sony finally figures out that they would sell more copies if they also put it on PC at the same time. So, yeah, it's I think giving people more ways to access your content is for the most part going to be good. There's a little bit of an argument towards you want to keep your really good games in your basket, so that'll sell hardware. But I just don't think that's a lot of how people decide whether or not they want a console and what decisions they make going into a console. But yeah, so soon you'll be able to play. I don't know, and they said it wasn't going to be like the flagship title, so like the next Halo game is obviously I would think would be on the Xbox, but maybe some of the smaller ones, maybe Obsidian or Double Fine, those kind of those games will launch on, maybe not even launch, maybe they'll just come later on those consoles. So it'd be cool to see what we get on Switch, what Xbox games they can get to run on Switch, since Xbox is such a powerful console. So, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. As a diehard Xbox fan myself, I don't care if you can play the same game that I played on Xbox on your PlayStation or your Switch. It doesn't affect me at all. So hopefully that's the attitude that other people are taking out of this conversation. Speaking of exclusives, Sony talked about their kind of upcoming year, the financial year 2024, from April to 25, and how there will be no big flagship Sony games launching that area. So I would have expected Wolverine's been kind of teased for a while. In the next year, I would expect we would get more information on it. But that's not going to come out until at least March of 2025, if not later. They're probably saving that for a holiday launch. So yeah, no big PlayStation exclusives coming out for the next year is it's a pretty big deal. But yeah, I'm curious with like the Destiny stuff, like how much live service are they going to learn from the Destiny model and apply to more games, or is live service dying, in which case they have to rethink their entire formula on how they're going to monetize games post launch. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what's coming out for them in a year, because they're at least going to tell us about it sometime soon, hopefully. So let me know what other Sony games I should be keeping on my radar down below. Turns out that letting people make a game based on your IP could be financially beneficial for you. Got a report this week from a Hasbro earning call that they've made almost $100 million off of Baldur's Gate 3. So, might not seem like a lot since they've sold like 10 million units, but or even more, I think. But yeah, I guess, pretty good chunk of change for just being like, hey, use our IP and make a really good game. So, they gave it to one of the best developers out there right now. So, not too much surprise there, but yeah, it's interesting to see that, they're getting good returns on their investment, for just, licensing out their IP. So, hopefully this means they'll be a little bit more looser with, I don't know, another Magic game or D&D, and it also kind of flips it on its head when you're like, hey, why are you firing all the Wizards of the Coast people in a year where that's been your breadbasket? So yeah, curious what's going into that mentality, but Baldur's Gate 3, again, can't stop talking about it because it's doing great everywhere, and apparently helping out Hasbro in a rough year. The PlayStation Premium, so the extra version of PlayStation Plus, is adding 2 pretty cool titles this month. They're getting The Outer Worlds and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So those are some pretty cool games. Could definitely vouch for Outer Worlds, and my wife won't stop telling me that I need to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So maybe I'll upgrade to Premium for a month and then play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So it'll be fun to check that one out. Moving right along, for those who might be open world survival crafting out, fatigued, that there is a game coming out next week that I am kind of excited for. The one that I was most excited for going into this whole survival crafting, quarter. Nightingale launches next week. We get to see a pretty big extended 8-minute trailer on what we can expect from gameplay. And it has all the things you would expect. You go out, you kill a monster, you harvest its resources. You can turn those resources into runes to craft onto your items, and you can craft potions that'll help you resist certain enemy types. And so it's got all the depth that you would expect in an open world survival crafting game. The buildings look pretty intricate. I don't know if the ones that I build are going to be as intricate as I've seen on the video, but yeah, it looks like you start with a pretty good skeleton, and then you can kind of build out from there. So you also get guns, and there's a whole bunch of different gameplay, and you're gonna have both melee and guns. Although I don't know why once you have guns you would not use guns, but and it just kind of has that little bit of flair that I think that kind of X factor, like the fact that you're there's this Fey influence, and so you're running around trying to interact with forest spirits, and you're gonna go through portals to different worlds. I think that helps kind of break up the monotony of a open world survival crafting game. So I am excited for this. It's gonna be an uphill battle trying to convince my friends who just got burnt out on Pow World or Enshrouded to jump in and play Nightingale with me, but I think I will push for it because I think it looks very interesting, and I even the HUD numbers and all that kind of look bright and vibrant, which is not something you normally see in open world survival crafting games, unlike Pow World, which was very bright and vibrant and stuff like that. So let me know if you're interested in Nightingale, because I'm gonna be playing it hopefully soon. Last but not least, to add to my collection of Jason Schreier books, he talked about his new book that he's working on. The next one will be all about the 33-year history of Blizzard Entertainment. It's I think it's called Play to Win, and it's the rise and fall and what happens next with Blizzard. And I was like, whoa, we're already declaring that they've fallen. Are they in the dregs now? I think a lot of people are thinking that the Blizzard they know and love from the 90s and the early 2000s, from Warcraft all the way through World of Warcraft, those are the games that we grew up on. And with Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4, they haven't really been they haven't been up to par. So it has been a fall, and it is interesting to see what is next. And I'll be interested because I didn't really follow it along when they were purchased by Activision, and they made ABK. So I'd be really interested to see what decisions went into that and how that affected them since, and I'm curious how much of the Microsoft stuff will be included in that, because that's recent history. So yeah, very interested to read that one, and I can add it to my other collections of his books, because I bought them all, or at least both of them. So looking forward to checking that out sometime soon. But that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love a thumbs up this week. See if my thumbs up button works. So if you could go ahead down there, hit the like button. That means that I know that you heard this, and I will not ask you again, sometime soon. So anyway, I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend, and I hope you have a super day. Bye.